All right, guys. Joe's going to do some push-ups today. We got another Colombian holiday. They have a holiday, seems like 2 or 3 times a month for a different saint. We're not Catholics, so it's kind of foreign to us. But at any rate, we're going to show you some push-ups here at the house. Joe's probably going to do a different variety, a few different types. And we're going to see how this goes, and I'll give you an old man rant or an old man good story. I don't know. I'll figure it out as we go along. Feeling good about it, son? All righty then. Take your time, son. So when we work out here at least once a week anyway, generally on Thursdays. But the gym's closed today, so we're kind of forced to work at home on Monday here. Of course, Joe did some reflex bag work. He knocked the bag off the post on it. He's always tearing something up. Speed bag, which I don't have up and hung right now. He's broken several hinges on that. I believe I've put that up in videos. So he's a knocker, and it's just him working on this equipment, and he's just tearing it all to pieces. So that's he's got a lot of power to him. And another thing that we started really stressing, that we got away from a little bit on, was jabbing. And of course, we work on the jab every day by just doing it. But we've gotten away from stressing the jab. I've gotten a little too confident with Joe and his jab. So we got to work on the jabs again last week, stressing the jab. And I'm telling you guys, his damn jab is like pulling down a street post and smacking it upside somebody's head. It's like a baseball bat. Huh?
I could knock you out with my thumb.
Yeah, Joe just said, I don't know if you could hear it through the speaker. He said I could about knock somebody out with a thumb. In the old days you could, because if you wanted to, either by accident or even on purpose, you could thumb somebody. But with these gloves that have these attached thumbs, of course, you can't do that. And I never was into doing any of that, although I got taught how to do it, as everybody else did back in the day. You know, somebody's low blowing you or something, or they're eyeing you, they'll train you how to give them an eye back, or so you could defend against stuff like that. And we got other things that we work on around here that in case the fella's cheating. And of course, cheating without a decent official in the ring. Because if the ref ain't going to cut the mess out, we'll go right on with them. So we're not going to get in there and be a whooping post for cheaters. Nobody with me is, much less Joe here. But we have started stressing and getting back to work on the jab. And I've always told fellas, and not people ain't thinking about this, they ain't going by these old ways. Even if a guy can take you, if you can out jab him and establish a good, consistent, thorough jab through a fight, and have that in dominance, you'll win a fight with your jab. And nobody's stressing a lot of these things like they used to. Everybody's, and I'll tell you, other than Zeke Castro fight that we watched about a month ago, all these amateurs I see getting in there, other than Zeke, and I'm sure maybe there's a couple of 3 others in the U.S., and I know there's plenty in England. They're not all getting in there doing the same thing. They get most of these boys and young men today. They get in there and it's 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and typically you got a guy that's given and I ain't saying they're doing bad, but they're a jab and a cross, a jab and a cross, a jab and overhand right, and then if you're lucky and you want some something interesting going on, you'll have another fellow that all he's throwing is counter hooks, and we don't do that. We do a variety of different things. Joe can jump around and establish a jab, and it'd be more of a jab like a Liston-esque jab. And another fellow that had a great jab, but don't get mentioned as a jab, was George Foreman. But sometimes Joe can shift at a fly and just start throwing hooks, similar to Frazier. Am I saying Joe's better than any of these aforementioned people? No. But what I am saying, he's just 16, and if he continues with this, he may be the guy everybody's always talking about and comparing them to him, because he's got the proper work ethic. Will that hold out? I don't know. I don't know the future, but it's my hope and my prayer. Joe's got him a girlfriend now, and he's not letting that interfere with nothing that he's got going on. He's got his head screwed on straight. So, just not letting anything interfere with himself and what he needs to do. So I'm very elated and proud of him with that. He loves his boxing. He wants world championship. And we're going to just sit here and continue to go slow through necessity, because we can't get nobody in the amateurs to fight Joe at 16, 17, 18, 19. I've even called Cartagena, where the professionals hang out, and I can't do nobody. They say, oh, yeah, you can come up here, and then they look at him, and then they're, oh, no, they ain't putting nobody in the ring with him for somebody to go hard with, you know. And and that's a blessing. I always tell Joe, that's a blessing. We got a kid, he didn't show up for a while, I was mentioning. I'm going to let Joe knock him around if he comes tomorrow. He's going to come today, but of course it's holiday. But if he comes tomorrow, I'm going to let Joe tag him a few times to show him, not to hurt him, but to create enough pain on him that he realizes you have to come. So, and that's what we do with everybody that slacks off. Because this is nothing to be doing. If you want to come and you want to lose weight, that's your objective, or you want to get in top peak physical condition and that's your objective, that's a different story. But if you want to fight, you're going to have to really work. Just take your time, son. We'll go get a haircut tomorrow, probably.
They go get like 500.
Yeah, just shoot for whatever you want. You're doing different kinds, so probably gonna wear you down a little bit, to work you a little harder, you know. Your shoulders feel okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, folks, we're always doing stuff that'll wear on the shoulder muscles, the back muscles. Why, might you ask? Is because when you're fighting, when you get tired, it's going to start, it's going to develop in your shoulders, and you're going to drop your gloves. And the intent on building superior and the shoulder strength is for that, and for strength of punching, and for the back, it is to through mostly pulling efforts on the back to create pushing stronger strength and snappy strength. And that's another area that's I see a lot of younger people not really getting done right, or things that are being overlooked. So I'm not the all-knowing, all-seeing guy sitting over here, but I do know old school methods, and I do know that what I see with my eyes as an old man, I don't let deceive me very often, as a young fellas would, young man would, or middle-aged man would. And you know, I see how we fought, how we sparred, how we trained, how we fought. And then I look at the fellas and see how they're doing these same things today. And we had different methods, and newer folks would say, well, they're ruder and more elementary and more crude. I would say go back and look at fights from the 1910s and 1920s that have been colorized and put in proper motion, that they're not in like a fast forward stream like they always were until recent times. You'll see folks like Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey, a lot of guys, they were jumping around and they were moving. And we didn't get that as kids. All that was in a fast forward motion, because that's the way motion pictures were then. And of course, everything was in black and white. So the technology is different today. And now I'm seeing that those guys that were fighting back then were fighting a heck of a lot better than what I, as a young kid or a young man, would give them credit for. So, and it's the funniest thing, we've got new neighbors, right? So the gentleman, he takes his two dogs a few times a day over to the park over there across the road there, you see in the background. He brought them out the other day, and I was like, oh, he must have visitors. He's got two new dogs are there. And these dogs, he had their hair cut, and they looked like two totally different dogs than they looked when he moved in a few days ago. So it's just totally amazing. I don't know why I threw that in there. I'm an old man. You get a lot out of me, and you get a lot of stuff you don't want out of me as well. So, another thing I want to talk to you about while Joe's strolling along with this, not to get political. I get to ranting on different things, but I want to give all young fellas a warning here. You be careful by the time, if you're trying to sway mom or dad how to vote, and you need to tell them what I'm going to tell you momentarily. And if you yourself are voting, you can't vote to the left no more. You can't vote Democrat no more. These leftists are warmongers. They love war, although they portray that they are the peace and the love people, but there's no peace and love with these people, or the Democrat Party, or leftists in general, no matter where you live. The leftists in Europe are trying to drag all of Europe into a war with Russia right now. The leftists in the United States and Canada are doing their best to drag their respective countries into a world war with Russia right now, and China. And I'm going to tell you young people something that it'll get to how it will specifically involve you yourself. If their objectives are achieved, you are going to get your little Fanny drafted into the military service. And that's what all this has been about. All the havoc in the street, the protesting, the going crazy, the burning cars, the catching Jewish people on fire, which happened in Boulder over the weekend, yesterday as a matter of fact. All this stuff, the BLM and the riots and all this, at the same time where they're making villains in other countries they want to pull into war with, use the excuse, well, we can get these boys that are causing all this trouble and stuff, along with the good boys that ain't causing no trouble, and draft them into military service and send them over to die. A rhino, which means Republican in name only, and a damn Democrat are two of the same types of politicians. And they love death for everybody else except for them and their families. Folks, I lived through the Vietnam War. They were drafting at an abnormal number black people and poor people. Rich people were able to get education deferments. They were able to go through and pay doctors to fake medical exemptions for them and everything else these rich people were. And these same politicians that were peddling war, that had exemptions for everything, wouldn't give exemptions to your family or my family. And or in most cases African Americans, because they were disproportionately sent over to Vietnam to be killed in that war. And I'm glad. I'm a hawk, a conservative hawk, and I didn't understand Ali bowing out of all of that and saying, no, I'll go to jail before I'll go fight over there. And even he did not realize that they were disproportionately at the time taking black guys and putting them over there to fight and die in wars. And I'm going to tell you something, liberal white men and black men, because most black women are liberal, they'll send your asses off to die. They will send their own kind off to die in a heartbeat, because they are contrary in their belief system. You've got yes and no going on in the liberal brain at the same time, so they have no discernment and they'll send you off to war. So we need to really be watching what's going on in this world right now. I don't want to see no young people go off to no damn war. Reason why they letting all these immigrants in, it's not necessarily to tear your countries down. It's to wreak havoc and have a population of people there that they can use for draft for endless type wars. And Europe, being in its liberal state, almost every country, not Poland, thank God, and now not Italy, they are very conservative, but the other countries in Europe are itching for war. And the United States needs to really tell Europe, you're on your own. You need to be defending your own butts. We went through 2 world wars. The people that were the villains of both of those world wars were not much as villains as you've been led to believe. I'm not discounting or saying anyone was a good guy, but I am saying nobody was really a good guy leading countries back then. Nor are there today. And we all better be thankful to God that Trump won this election, irrespective of your party. If you are a young draftable age felon. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't want my boy to go off to war. And I don't want yours to go off to war either. And it seems to me that many of the first world countries have been getting in wars that have been settled for nothing. And these boys have went off to fight wars the past 50, 60 years that nothing was settled, nothing was done, nothing was won. Nobody got the spoils. The victor ends up paying the money and suffering. And I'll be damned if I, 30 years ago, 40 years, well, 45 years ago, wartime, I'd go join up. Like my daddy did, but when by the time Vietnam rolled around after Korea, after Vietnam was railing for many years, my dad and my uncle, who was a full-bird colonel, was like, this is a sick thing they've got the U.S. into. Nobody wanted their children to go off to fight a war. We went to war in Korea, all those people that died in Korea. Of course, NATO went, and so you had people from England, France, Germany, many countries that died in the Korean War. And what? No border changed. As a matter of fact, there was no winner. It's just a truce was called, and it's been a standing truce since then. Well, that's not worth anybody's life. When you read in a history book, you may think it is, but if that's your brother, or your son, or your dad, or your uncle that died, and you saw your family being ripped apart due to death, no, that ain't worth it. You don't go to war unless you've got an achievable objective. I don't want in that damn Ukraine-Russia war. Right now, I'm thinking Russia should just go ahead and knock the hell out of them and finish it. And if Russia, if Europe wants to go to war with Russia, all your asses sitting over there in European nations, you all need to bear the brunt of it. I'm vehemently opposed to this war. Ukraine ain't gonna be drop a sweat off my back or yours if you live in Western Europe. They tell you it is, but it's not. That's lies. Now, if Europe were being invaded by China or Russia or something like that,
Different story.
a different story. I'd defend you in Western Europe in a second. With life and limb, but not for this, not for a country that shut down the church and shut down all forms of Christian expression while this trans president dancing in high heels is pushing the death of everybody else's children, which would be Zelensky. And I'm not for that. And you shouldn't be either. And if you are for that, you should give yourself, especially if you claim to be a Christian, you need to give yourself a reality check, because you got cognitive dissonance going on with you, and that would be cognitive dissonance is the opposing viewpoints that inevitably kill off all your viewpoints when you're cognitive dissonance. You gotta be careful, young people, what you read, what you see in the news, how people in society is feeling from one moment to another, and what they're emotionally feeling. And tell the senor I thought they were two different dogs.
Dice que pensó que eran dos perros distintos.
No, son los mismos.
Pero decentes.
Sí,
Hey, Davies. Hola.
Yeah.
Rocky's just sitting there watching.
See, that's
Yeah.
Monday. What time are you? They got a haircut.
Yeah, tell them they're beautiful.
Sí, desde que son muy bonitos.
Oh, yeah, very beautiful. Buenas tardes, good afternoon, sir. And, so you really got to be thinking about what you're seeing, what you're doing, what's going through your brain, what's going on with yourself emotionally, what direction you're being pulled in. Because you will literally, and I see this in Europeans, especially in my UK friends, people that live in the United Kingdom, that you've got it, it's been drilled in your heads that if you stand up for what you know is right, when you voice it and vocalize it, a lot of, I ain't trying to be mean. I ain't trying to be ugly. Maybe I should have said this in a nicer way. And I'm here to tell you, maybe you should have been more forceful in what you were saying. Maybe you should have shown more righteous indignation against the evil that's going on in your countries. Because I'm telling you all, you're not going to have countries any longer. If this continues, and I thank God every day that Trump is in office in the U.S. And I ask the Lord every day, especially in our motherland of England, that, and in Germany as well, that the good Lord will get people in the highest of offices that actually love the people in your countries. Watch your left there.
Yeah, was this 13?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Uh-huh.
One more?
That was 18.
No.
There you go.
Was it good?
Yeah. And Joe, I could care less if you count, as long as you get to work here. Or do like Ali, start counting once you're worn out and ragged,
Yeah, I did.
you know. Yeah, I say this a lot to you guys. Muhammad Ali didn't start counting until he was hurt. And he made it a point, and he'd bunch everything he did together and say, I did 2,692 things, repetitions of all, you know, everything put in one thing. And he wouldn't start counting until he was hurting. People don't look at Ali like that, and they should. He was a workhorse. Marvin Hagler's being left out of a lot of conversations. The workhorse. Tyson, prison, up until right before prison, was a workhorse. Kenny Norton, Joe Frazier, Jerry Quarry, Jerry Cooney, pre-Larry Holmes. And when I say pre, I don't mean they weren't workhorses afterwards, but they weren't consistent. They didn't seem to be. So the work is the objective. The work will breed success. It will breed winning. It will breed protection. It will breed flourishment. to your life in general. If you're staying busy enough and you're staying focused and you are keeping your brain on what actually really matters and not being frivolous in crazy ways. I am frivolous in that if I can get Joe a piece of equipment, if I can get Joe this thing or that thing for his success, I will drive myself into debt to the ends of the earth, and it can be a downfall to me as long as it's building him up, and that's what fathers should be about. And if you get your life, the priorities straight, if you get married and you have a family, your family should be your focus. Your work should be the thing you do to flourish your family. So when you are at work and you are working, instead of, I hate this, I can't do this, I'm miserable, I'm this, I'm that, and make it an I, me, my thing, keep to the forefront of your brain, know this is what help is going to help my family flourish for the future of them. So you got to get your thinking straight. Everything is about your conscious thoughts. And your conscious thoughts intertwine directly with your spirit. And this spiritual world is coming against you at every turn, at every moment of every second, because you have good and evil. Good is Christ, it is the Lord, and evil is Satan and his minions. And all the negative thoughts are satanic thoughts. The positive thoughts that pull you across the finish line, and no matter what you're doing, are the godly thoughts, the good thoughts. What you got, son?
315.
315?
Not really much, but I want to get a lot more.
Well, just go into regular ones whenever you want. I noticed you didn't do many of those declines.
I did 15 of them. And
That's okay. You just do what you want to do. Joe will mix these push-ups up when we're in the gym, and he will, with those stair steps, and do decline and step ups and normals and this and that, outers, inners, and maybe he gets 125, 150, 200. But it works him, see, and that's what you want. You want to be worked. It's not necessarily about the number and everything that you do. It is in the no gain, no pain scenario. You know, you go into that threshold of pain, and maybe when you're doing different things, you can't achieve numbers, you know, high numbers. And don't worry about that. Just get the body built for the fight. That's what it's all about. That's why we show you all this stuff. God, Joe must have threw 2,000 or 3,000, not just punches, 2,000 or 3,000 jabs last week, and just honing it and honing it and honing it. And it was something that we did daily, but that we didn't zero in on that punch. And we zeroed in back on it last week, and that's a good thing about going slow. Joe's almost in a training camp year round. So a lot of things going on here. And plus he's got the schooling and he's holding the A average across the board in school. Biology's slipping a little bit, just a little bit, but I think he's gonna squeeze an A out in that, so two A's across the board is normal. And just excelling through hard work, guys, and that's what you guys need to be trying to do, get your heads screwed on straight. And that is where, it's a message to the mothers out there. This is where fathers are very important and necessary. Fatherless families are exceptions, and it's not good, it's not normal. It's no more normal than a motherless family. And we're getting away from that. Fathers need to have full reign as nature intended it over their families. And you gotta have that. If you got a weak father, you're gonna produce weak boys. If you have no father, you're going to produce weaker the boys. I mean, it's just the way it goes. I tell you this all the time. My dad died when I just turned 11. But news for you, my mother was the sister of a major league baseball player, folks, and she was more of a father than most of the fathers you've had. And so it can be done. I'm not downing it. I'm just saying preferably with a father is the way to go. Fathers are being discounted today, and that's by design. Break the family down, have a fatherless society, and then you got a churchless society, then you got a godless society, then you got an insane society. And that's what the deal has been all along. All this stuff going on is by design. From very evil forces. Nobody wants you to stand up and tell the truth, see? Because spiritually you get under attack when you're saying the right things or doing the right things. There's something that Satan is guilt and shame and all these awful things. And when you stand up and you start telling the truth, as unpopular as it may be, the worry, the anxiety, the shameless shame, and things like that start setting hold. So you got to be strong spiritually, mentally and spiritually. You have to be very, very strong. This is why I'm getting to like Ali a lot more as the older I get, is because whether he was right or wrong, he stuck to his guns and he held forward, and he would be a very hated man today. I'm way more kind and gentle. For those of you that come on here and say, well, he's too mean, or I don't agree with that, or socially or whatnot. Muhammad Ali was way more conservative than I would ever have time to think about being. You all would hate him today. You would call him racist today. You would call him xenophobic, homophobic. Every phobia you got, you'd call him. You call him a chauvinist, a bigot. That's what you'd all be saying. Oh, he was the greatest. Was he to you? Really? If you knew what where he stood and how dogged and strong he was in his convictions, maybe you wouldn't like him. What you got?
375. That's a shame.
You can done a bunch of, don't worry about it, Joe. You did 900 in one sitting last week. You've, done well over 1,000 before during the days. During the day, so don't worry about it.
I think I'll get 500 on camera and then I'll get another 500 as I go.
Maybe just do it however you want to do it and stretch it on and get down and do them as you want to. Well, yeah, I'm gonna stop this at 5 anyway.
I'm like an amateur right now. 375.
You're outdoing 90% of the amateurs right now. Probably 25, 30% of, maybe 50 of professionals.
Woo. 25.
These damn sissies today don't do nothing but hop around and jump around trying to
Look fancy.
look fancy and do defense. Folks, the defense mainly should consist of moving thine head. That should be the focus. Punch and move the head. But we are hunt you down, track you down, wear you down, and then knock you down, and then knock you out. That's our objective. And a lot of people do that. A lot of, well, you ain't gonna be able, you ain't gonna be able. We're sitting in a Latino country right now that won't let him into any of their amateur programs out of fear. So what we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. There's a sizable Mexican population here. They're the same way. They take a look. Everybody's, oh, they're the greatest fighters in the world. They'd come up on him and they'd be like, oh no, I ain't getting in the ring with him. I ain't, no way, man. Even the men, they carry a prideful chip on their shoulders. I love nothing more than somebody to come in, get in the ring with Joe and mop the floor up with him, because it'd be a good learning experience for him. A lot of these people are full of pride and stuff, and won't lay that effeminate emotional side of them down to, I like my style. And so we're a little different. Well, we're way different around here. Way different. And I ain't looking for things to change too much when we get back to the U.S. We've been talking about that a whole lot. Everybody, you know, people are big fellas when they got a pond between them, or a few thousand miles, few thousand miles south of them. A lot of people are big talkers. And when we get back to the U.S., if Joe starts getting mopped up a little bit or a whole lot, we'll adjust to it, fix it, and start mopping the floor up with him. That's what it's about, see?
You can't get better if you don't get.
Yeah. And we talk bold around here, but it ain't bragging if you can back it up. Anybody gets giddy, they get giddy with it and want to come down here. You can have a free vacation, stay with us. Only thing you pay for is your airfare. And put the headgear on or go out it, go without it, and give it a try. See how it works out for you. That's always been an open invitation. We are bold. I've seen working going on in the '60s, folks. I've seen how we were doing things then, the '70s. And to be honest with you, in the '70s, things started to get relaxing. And this is why Eddie Futch has really turned into my greatest of all time trainer, because he got fired by more fighters than anybody. They'd get him in to win a championship, get him in to beat a specific contender, get him in to do this or that or the other thing, and then they didn't want him around no more because he'd worked the hell out of them. That man had a zero tolerance policy for BS, and if you messed with him, it was FOFA, and it didn't work out too good for you. And these guys would hire him, bring him in, get built up, and then, I don't want to continue doing this. Eddie Futch was a tactician's tactician. And he worked the science and worked the body. And that's all we're trying to do around here. Joe's got almost 3 different styles that he can just fluidly go from one style to another mid-round. And people are like, that can't be done. That can't be done. And we're doing it daily. I just say switch up. He's got 2 other options in his normal way of fighting. I say switch and he'll go to one, or he'll ask me which one. I'm telling you, what's going on around here ain't the normal crap. I don't care if you've had a gym for 15, 20 years. If your ass ain't over 60, you probably ain't got a clue as to what we're doing. And you'll see. Then eventually you'll see him on the TV or computer or something, and you'll say, oh, good God, this fight he's fighting like this. This fight he's fighting completely different. Next fight he's fighting different than that. There's a lot of stuff going on around here, and it started at a young, early age. So, young fighter, trainer, anybody involved in any type of fighting game, open your brain. Explore the horizons on it. There's 1,000 different ways to skin a cat. Your way ain't the only way. And the way you was taught was not the only way. We do a lot of crazy stuff. I get questioned all the time. Why are you doing this? What's that all about? You can't do this like that. And hola, Rocky, you won the whole time, and now not fighting on nobody.
Hola, Joseph.
Buenas.
¿Cómo estás?
How many you got? Tell them they can come on through and walk through. I'll get in front of the camera.
Pueden esperar que nosotros hagamos esa cosa.
No, yo solamente quería saber
They just came to say hello to Rocky.
Oh, okay. How many you got?
445.
Alright. 445. So what I'm telling you guys is explore your horizon. When you get to, just go ahead and get down and do 5, and I'm going to do it at 450. At least, on the camera here. So you see you got 450 here, easy for now. He's going to continue and go along, but my wife's just come in. She's got her sister with her. I'm not going to stop the video, but I want you all to know we love you. We hope you have an excellent week this week. I'll end this like I normally do. Christ is King, Lord, and Savior up in here. And we hope He is up in where you are too. And we love you guys.